Welcome to Metatech Podcast, the community of experts for the Metaverse, Web 3.0, and NFTs. Learn and be inspired by top industry leaders with your host, Ricardo Carreon. Together, we are building the Internet of Tomorrow. We invite you to join the Metatech experts community on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Discord.
Let's go. Welcome, everybody. This is Ricardo Carreon, and this is the Metatech Podcast. Today, we have a very special edition. We have today with us David Yu. He is CEO and co-founder of VeVe, which is like a platform that has a lot of fans in Mexico and in Latin America. And we're very excited to have David here. Welcome, David.
Yeah, thanks, Ricardo. Thanks for having me on the show today.
And also different from most of the podcasts we also have Wendy Lopez. Wendy is a community manager, and she does a tremendous job for Virtua, which is a platform from Dubai. She manages the community in the Americas. So Wendy is going to be helping us, and we'll be doing the interview together. Welcome, Wendy.
Thank you so much. Nice to see you, David. I have seen you before at Deacon and in many places, and I'm so happy to see you here with the conversation.
Thanks, Wendy. Thanks for inviting me on the show, and looking forward to exciting discussion.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, the audience likes to know a lot about the people, about not only about the projects. VeVe is, of course, a very well-known project worldwide, but tell us a little bit about yourself and how do you got involved in this space.
Well, definitely, we were definitely not very well known at all, and my journey really started in 1997, going back before, where we are today. My background has been very much into the very traditional retail collectible industry. I still own a small chain of gaming shops selling, started with trading cards, then move into tabletop games, comic collectibles, and model kits. Basically, my entire career path lead me to this digital era, which, we're very lucky just to be in the very beginning of the transformation from physical to digital new mediums.
All right, so you were in collectibles way back when. I mean, 97 is like, some time
ago. Yesterday.
The 97, I think I started with the Magic the Gathering. My first big breakthrough was really Pokemon cards. Was one of those biggest thing in the late 90s, early 2000. And from there, the tabletop gaming from Warhammer and branching into board games, model kits, we have Gundams, basically you name it, I sell it, paints, card sleeve accessories, it's just whole rough, and including Dungeons and Dragons role-playing book. And all these nostalgia brands are having a huge comeback because people grew up with these, and in a way, it's bringing them now in a new medium format.
Right. But it's very interesting, as you said. I mean, I think that very few people in this industry can claim to have that many years of experience, right? I mean, when somebody says I have years of experience in NFTs, it's like, oh, most of the people have like been here since 2021, right? So it sounds very, very interesting. Gwen, do you want to go ahead with some of the questions? Go ahead.
Yes, sure. So, David, we know that you have such a great success because first, I know that you are a collector and that you made VeVe what is right now. But I have seen so many interviews about yourself and about everything that you do, but I think I haven't heard what is VeVe for David Yu. Can you tell us how would you define it?
Yeah, well, to start with, the VeVe, as you know of today, could not be here without my co-founder, Dan. And many of you would know Dan. Technically, he is the COO, but we equally treat each other with fully respect. And I have known Dan for 25 years. And in fact, in many of the interview, Dan is someone who helped me in my physical retail business, bridging into the e-commerce industry. And both of us together, or what you know as of VeVe as of today. So huge credit to him. But to me, VeVe has been a real journey. And obviously, the journey has been very, very long, and we're actually only at the real start of this journey. To me, it's beyond, some people might describe it as like their kid, their passion. To me, it has been beyond the hardest thing I ever done in my life. And I've been in the retail business for a long time, and retail business in the collectible, it's all about, release driven. You're almost selling every single week with new cards coming out, new collectible, new games. But VeVe, with all the years of experience I put together, has been the most challenging part because there's just so many moving parts. So to me, it's beyond the blood, sweat, and tear, and the countless hours, the amount of effort, extraordinary effort you have to put through to get to where we are today. That you know as of the VeVe today.
And
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, one, please.
So, did you expect to have this amount of success in less than 2 years since you released the app?
No, and the truth to be told, we were just very lucky to call on the right timing. We were anticipating, the first year we'll be very lucky to even have, 100,000 download. The number that we have received from the public and the users and the VeVe fans out there, the support has been extraordinary, great in the way. But obviously it comes with its own challenges as well. So yeah, in short answer, I mean, we never thought about it. I mean, I still remember myself and Dan before we pressed the button to go ahead. And it was actually in my apartment in the kitchen table. He actually looked at me. He goes, well, I'm about to switch on. I hope someone will want to buy a digital Batman. And that was the Batman Black and White Series 1 we put on. And even with that release of that set, the challenge of us to work out how many editions we want to make and who goes first and why this character was placed there, why he is a common. Every little bit of the implementation has been thought through from the background of the retail business, how retailers will be selling this collectible product. As a manufacturer, how we will be orchestrating and produce and articulate this to the market. And the storytelling is a very, very important part in VeVe.
Yeah, one of the things that caught my attention since the beginning, I have another friend besides Wendy that is he's from Monterey. He's also a YouTuber, and he loves VeVe, and he's kind of like a VeVe DJ, and has bought a lot of collectibles from you guys. And one of the things that caught my attention when he introduced me to VeVe was that it's frictionless. I mean, the friction is actually quite small, and you cannot say that out of all the marketplaces. Most marketplaces are very challenging for the uninitiated. If you are not into Web3 and you have a wallet and you have a good knowledge, and it can be very challenging. For example, even let's say OpenSea, if you wanna, kind of like work with Ethereum and then work with Polygon and then work with Solana, it's a challenge, and you have to have, probably you have to either look at some tutorials or have some classes. But in VeVe, you can just go ahead, get into the app. You can immediately know kind of like how to buy. You have the wallet integrated. I mean, so everything is very easy. Was that by design? Was that the idea, to remove friction?
100%. One of the major part when we build the app, we were thinking how we're going to tackle the mass market. I mean, a kid will walk into my retail shop. Imagine, before he could buy a pack of cards, and I have to say, listen, I need to see your card album, because if you're going to buy these trading cards, I need to see where you're going to store it. And in fact, hey, when you store it, I'm going to give you a private key, and then we're going to lock it away and all this. It's going to be very difficult. So our thought was, how can we go to the marketplace with the easiest way for people to understand without them knowing they're already in the digital crypto or NFT business? That was one thing. And back in 2017, when we started this business, there was not many other projects out there like marketplaces. Today we celebrate with many great projects and talents out there, and because the entry level of talent and art creation is very simple, but the technology behind it, if you don't know that it can be very challenging. And it's not just challenging for the users, it's also very challenging for the brand owner, the talent, the artist who's coming on board. You can imagine some of them, if they now we have seen so many successful projects on OpenSea and other platforms. It took them a long time to understand and how to do it. And in the real life, anyone could draw something and go to the flea market or the market on the Sunday and set up a table and selling their artwork.
Of course, yeah.
And we always thought, hey, how can we go for the mass market approach? And that's why VeVe has a marketplace inside. Because when we start developing the business, marketplace was very limited as well. And like you say, Ricardo, it's Polygon, it's this chain, that chain, all the side chains. It was a little bit messy, and we're going to continue to see more and more blockchain technology out there. And I remember 2018-19, every crypto event, blockchain event we go to, every chain was always talking about how many transactions per second, how fast we are, how cheap we are. And the truth was, myself and Dan was going, if you guys don't have applications to run on your chain, it
doesn't matter. It's just pointless. It's of course.
So that was a major thing. So we were standing back and learning what the market needs, and the market needs a mass market app to drive the real adoption of blockchain. And the truth is that blockchain is only one of many technology that we actually use in VeVe. So it's quite interesting. A lot of the project is so focused on one thing, where we look at the whole scheme of things as bigger and broader than just a blockchain.
Okay. You want to ask something, Wendy?
Yes, I have so many questions.
Yeah. We're gonna need 2 hours, I think.
No. I understand that David is very busy. Yes, I would like to know about the first drop on VeVe. That it was the first one that was the first series of black and white. How is the story when you tell to DC, we want to do digital collectibles, NFTs, when it was not a thing? How is that? Because that is very interesting to know.
Yeah, the truth is we go to a lot of these license meetings, and I think in technology, when you approach these companies, you use big words, right? And you think you could impress them. And the word non-fungible token just doesn't sound very good. And, a lot of them think non-fungible token. So is that something to do with blockchain? And you go, yeah, we're using the underlay blockchain. And they think, oh, it's Bitcoin, it's a little bit, is there dodgy? Is there a scam happening? It's going to be hacked. So, I could not remember why we abbreviated non-fungible token to NFT. And by the way, someone actually told us, but NFT doesn't actually make this whole thing sound better. I just want you to know. So we're saying non-fungible and change it to NFT. The guy, it's not actually that much better. Still sounds pretty geeky, nerdy. And myself, when we describe it to them on our presentation, and the truth is we haven't built the app yet. The app was always just in the development. So we had to take screenshots, what it will look like as a mock-up. And I will always refer, imagine you will want to click something, but you now want to click a digital version of it. So the word that I've been throwing around back in the day has always been digital collectibles. And that's really just to take away deep into it, because everyone keep thinking we're minting a Bitcoin into a digital collectible, so people will be speculating, and then people will need to go mine these to get the collectibles. So the early concept and selling point was extremely difficult because you are dealing with a group of people, especially in business, have no idea what they're about to get on. DC was extremely supportive. The Warner DC group, they love new challenges. And obviously, at that moment of time, they were very fast into investing into gaming technology. And I think they were just about to launch the Harry Potter games with Niantic. So there was a lot of great innovations coming out from their office and the storytelling. And part of the DC that we got really involved with was the comic and the direct collectible group, the DC Direct, and the enthusiasm that they have for their collectible line. It was, I already collect the Batman Black and White series, so it was no brainer for us to start with that, and really explaining to the audience that a physical collectible could also appear or be represented through the digital. And we needed a big brand. And I do have to admit, DC wasn't the first brand that we signed. We had other smaller brands that came on board to be part of this journey. But we just decided, we need to go out with something that's pretty cool. And yeah, the first few collectible that we sold, I remember reading a comment. Someone actually wrote, "Why are these things black and white?" I mean, it's called it's called Batman Black and White Series White. People go, "Wow, they couldn't even make this thing in color." And I remember that was the first few comment we got, and I'm just going, "Oh my God, people don't actually get it yet." So it will take time to foster this nascent industry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Comment.
I have a question. I have seen several different types of collectibles. VeVe collectibles are different from other platforms. They tend to be very high quality, right? I mean, kind of like if they are, let's say if they are 3D, you can see kind of like it's really a beautiful 3D. You can see it from all the angles. You can rotate it, or even you have these, cars that you can drive and they become kind of like AR, where you can have them running on your garage or something like that, or in the park. So out of those things, like comics or collectibles or AR type of things, what would you say would be the categories that you see growing faster into the next, let's say into the next year, not to go into the future?
Yeah. So Ricardo, it's interesting how you notice that the AR, the aspect where people can bring it out in 3D and walk around it. And the truth to be said, the technology that we have today is just getting better and better. And that's simply the phone makers are getting better camera, better screen time. The screen resolution is much better. We wanted to bring collectibles to fans equally as attractive and addictive as you would to buy the real thing. And that was one of the main ways that this product that we're doing digital needs to be in such a good quality. Why will people want to buy and spend their money and to start collecting? So we started with, we have a number of pillars inside the company we want to do. And the reason why we set these pillars is we want to build an empire. And when I talk about empire, I'm referring to like an empire building, state building. If you were running your car across the Empire State Building, it's only going to make a little dent to them. And the reason why is because these buildings are built with major pillars. So one of the major pillar for us right now has been into the superheroes, as you have described. And these are very evergreen characters. People see them in cinematics. People see them when they grew up with it, whether it's from the comic and the superhero they know. The other pillar, which you are talking about, are areas that we're looking to put focus into. Number one is music. We see a great new way to bring music to the world. I'm just giving you an example. Your parents or your parents' grandparents possibly have been collecting Beatles in the 8-tracks, have been collecting music in cassette, and they collect the vinyls, and then they bought the CDs, and then they later on bought the Blu-ray, the DVDs, watching them play in concert. And then there's Spotify, where they now can subscribe to it and they can just anytime listen to the music that they love. I really do believe that industry in the music is very collectible, because you already pay like 6 or 7 types of that same music to the artists or to the publishers in a different way. I really do believe that there will be a new collectability for music to reinvent themselves rather than just being a streaming. And we have seen this increasing with collectible vinyl records are coming back. If you go to these flea market and you see people standing there collecting vinyls. And there's a reason being is because people love that nostalgia. They grew up with it, their parent play it. And we do believe that there's a digital experience in that. Other pillars that I really do believe that we will see a major shift into is sports category. Sports is probably one of the most sought after fandoms out there. And when we talk about people love superhero, sports is 10 times, tenfold.
Yeah, the fans.
The fans, they go, I mean, someone actually ring me up and told me how big a certain sport is in Australia, that there's over 60,000 people went to watch the practice game, just the practice game in Australia. So it just shows you that sports fandom is untapped into that industry. And we're seeing some of the most expensive franchise out there: basketball team, football team, soccer team, Formula One. Sports is a huge category, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of competition in the sports arena. Obviously, everyone tried to fight for that piece of pie. We have seen many success. Dapper Labs, fantastic product out there, promoting great NBA products out there. We have seen some Formula Ones. We have seen now they have picked up UFC. And I have seen the odd Premium League soccer, VeVe, this type of things all coming out from left and right and center. So it's really good to see so many categories all coming together to be part of this Web3 or NFT emerging.
Very good. Wen, go ahead.
So another category that I would like to ask is about books. Do you think that there is another category that is possible to see in the
the truth to be say again, you guys are asking great questions, by the way.
Thank you.
The book industry, it's a huge collectible industry. I mean, you just look at how Amazon started, right? They revived that whole industry into digital, and people still love to own the books. I mean, I actually collect some of the early literature books For example, Virginia Woolf, I recently got a copy of the first edition, even signed by her. So they are very sought after collectible out there. There's people collect history books, books about voyages, where discovery of new countries. I think books is definitely a category that people really will enjoy owning digitally. And most important, Wendy, is because they're already used to reading digital books now. So it's just no brainer that industry is just going to take over. And we have seen a huge uptake in comic books. So definitely there is a huge opportunity in that. And I really do believe that any industry out there, if you think you can be digitalizing it with a purpose, you should look at it. A lot of company out there, they don't understand how much great asset they are sitting on intangibly, that if they reinvent themselves into a digital way, they can do fantastic. I mean, I'll give you one really good example. Maps. We used to all buy maps. Every car in the world has maybe 2 or 3 copies because they go, well, I need to get there. Now there's Google Maps, right, that people don't buy. So those mapping companies just go, well, no one needs it because it's free. But if there's ways that they can reinvent themselves through digital, and you will think the mapping company will be the world's #1. But no, Google Maps basically took over, and Apple has their map because it's an app. If you think these companies can reinvent themselves a little bit earlier, moving into digital, and not so afraid being disrupted, will be great. Yellow Pages phone book is another example. Now you could search anything in Google, but you have to keep in mind Yellow Pages and these phone books, they were the masterpiece. They have these digitally somewhere, but because they want to continue to print and publish and distribute these books throughout the household, they kind of killed themselves. And one of the major thing is this business is so disruptive, it's actually killing my other retail business, right? People will think you're actually countering your own industry that you're in. But I always tell my employee is that people still will like and love to have that physical aspect of it. As long as you can provide them the best experience, the best service that the digital can give you, which is that human touch and emotional. And this is one of the sector what VeVe is moving into, is that how can we be more emotionally triggered and make you feel, we know you better and we understand what you like, etc. And that's what retail business is. I mean, people not going to walk into a supermarket ever again if they walk in there, have a bad experience, and they don't sell the food that they want or they love, so they go to another place. So it's the same thing with VeVe. We treat our business as all we want to do in our mission is have the world fall in love with digital collecting. That's all we want.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So we have little time now, and so I wanted to be moving more into where do you see the future of Web3 and of course of VeVe and of collectibles, of course, because at the end of the day, you guys are a strong one of the strongest proponent of collectibles, digital collectibles.
Thank you. So our vision in the collectible is more the afterlife. I always use that word, the afterlife. People think, well, it's a collectible. They're not. We really believe that there's multiple ways why will people want to buy these things. And I mean, last year, even now, people are going, when this, when utility, when airdrop, when this. For us, we want to focus on experiences. And right now we're moving into experimenting what we call the Web3. And I just want everyone to understand that the word metaverse is overly used.
Yeah.
I mean, even large company are really using them as a marketing word now. I just see it as to tell them, oh, well, you know, we're doing Metaverse this, Metaverse that. Really, what we believe the real world is moving into is the utility value of that product I have bought in digital. What type of experience am I going to get in the digital world? And that's what we're expanding. But with VeVe, we're working two type of horizontals. One is how is going to be the afterlife into the digital world. And we're also working backward is how the prequel of how it even got into the digital. So the physical aspect of it. So we have two two challenges ourselves that we give ourselves is how can we make sure someone from the physical world, they're going to buy something, transforming them into a digital collector, and how do we keep them in interest in it? How do we keep that narrative, that relative story, why they will want to be part of that? And this is why the VeVe has been, being in the works for a number of years. The work is how do we want to plan it out? What do people want and why will they want it? And then working with teams out there to basically stretch it out to finish it the other end.
That's very good.
Would you say that the VeVeverse is gonna be target like new generations, or is gonna be more for millennials kind of community? What is the goal of the generation that you are targeting with the VeVeverse?
Yeah. So yeah, and Wendy, you touch on a very good point. Is that the current generation, the young kids today, who's in Fortnite, who's in Roblox, who's in all these games, buying skins, and this has been going on for a while, right? This is not like overnight success. These company building these amazing games, allowing users to understand why they will want to be participating, changing their outfits and so on. It's been around a long time. In fact, my brother's kid understood the importance of having a cool outfit. And to him, that is more physical appearance. And that's how he flexes with his other friends when they play the game, because he looks different. Now, obviously, that market is going to get more mature. They're going to get older. The 8-year-old's going to become 15, 16. And remember, their children's going to basically be taught that, well, digital is fine because I used to play it, just like how we used to play with trading card, we click basketball card. And trading card really came from cigarette cards. Your grandparent would have been collecting when they buy a pack of cigarette, it comes with a card. And that generation just continues because they kind of understand and they grew up around it. Now, the VeVeverse and the Metaverse approach for us is all about, number one, the experiment. We want the best experiment. And number two, the community. VeVe would not be existent without the VeVe van. And I can rest assure you, this is probably the most important thing that a successful project requires. And the fans is not really just pockets of them. You need a huge support from the fans. So we owe it to our fans to build the best community experiment. Now, and many other companies like the multinational company out there, they are trying to build a Metaverse that is widely used and hugely adopted. What we are trying to build is about the afterlife of the NFT. What could you do with it? Why would I want to do this? And you can see behind my back, I have wall pictures, artworks put up, and I can reposition things. That's what we want to give our users, to have that ability in the digital world, understanding that those are digital assets, and also having your friends to come over to your Metaverse to experience that, to show it off, to go, hey, I got 15 of this collectible and it's just sitting there. Because why? I can do it. And that type of engagement, it's going to be a very important part. And then we'll step into the phase 2, phase 3. So we got multiple phases in how we want to roll this out. What we don't want is, Ricardo, you're in Mexico, I'm in New Zealand, Wendy, let's say you're in California, we all enter into the metaverse in a different time. And every time I come on, Ricardo, I don't see you in there, but you're a good friend of mine. Now I stopped going into the metaverse because I never see anyone I want to interact, because the community is not there. If the communities are not there, there's no point building them, because there's a product they don't want it. But what we want to do, and we learned this approach from Apple, I read a log and I see how they market. They give you a product, you don't even know you need it. But why do you need it? Because you kind of have these VeVe digital NFT collectibles. I want that showroom. Now I give you that showroom. I'm going to give you a whole raft of things, packages around that. You want furnitures, you want lights, you want tables, you want display shelves. Okay, you got them. Now I want to invite my friends to come in. I want to digitally sit down on the couch and maybe watch a TV or movie with them. Listen to the music I just bought on VeVe with that NFT. So that community and that whole thing will grow from that. And that's what we believe that will be a key part to a success for VeVe's metaverse. Every company will have a different approach, and I don't think anyone's doing anything wrong. It's just that word is being widely thrown around too much, and that's where we focus at.
Wow, that is a lot of alpha right there, because
lots and lots of alpha.
A lot of alpha.
But I also would like to say that for me, the two concepts that came and resonated a lot of what you said, David, are, the experience and the community, right? I mean, so you're providing these beautiful digital collectibles, but at the end of the day, is for providing the best experience for your community, and that's kind of like a very strong basis to build upon. So, well, thank you very much. When do you have some words? I think that this is going to be almost 40 minutes of a show, but it's really amazing to have you here on the show, David.
David, I just want to thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time. I have so many questions, but maybe another time. And no, just thank you so much for all what you are doing, all what you have built. And maybe you don't know, but VeVe literally changed my life. So I thank you. I'm always thankful with VeVe, because that's how my NFT journey started. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, I'm very pleased that we have brought you joy and opened new doors. And this is what I told Dan, is that at the very beginning, when we built this business, people actually didn't know what we were building. But what I knew that is going to be very important is that if I could take a photo with the superhero that I love and then I admire standing next to me, and I post it on my social media platform, and I get lots of like, and people start asking me, oh, wow, where did you get that Batman? Where did you get that Spider-Man from? It almost brings the world to connect in different ways, because it's a topic. It creates new ways for people to engage and open a conversation. And the VeVe community has given something extraordinary, is that some of these people have come together and they become friends, almost feel like they're friends for life. They never met them before, but the minute and I have experienced this myself. I walk through an airport, someone approach me and say, oh, Dave, you're from VeVe. That instant connection that I'm a VeVe collector, you're a VeVe collector, we almost like just connects. That is priceless. And I think when we see more and more projects that can bring that type of the commitment and the community together, it's going to be better for the whole world. And that's what some of these byproduct effects that NFT has brought. It has brought joys, and obviously has changed people's lives, because and obviously some people are financially better off because they manage to score something. And something sometime I talked to Dan about was that at the very beginning in VeVe, and you remember, Wendy, is that when you score a drops on a very secret rare on a comic, that comic book that you purchased for $6.99 sometimes could be going for 10 to 100 times in the value. And we're seeing the wealth distribution from you could be honestly working so hard in your life, and you never had anything, a win in your life, and you won one of these secret rare, and they really have changed your life and open that path. And I just really wanted to thank again all the fans out there. Without you guys, including Ricardo yourself, having me on your podcast, and spread that great message out there and telling the story. And most important is there's so much talent out there. And if you are willing to get off whatever you're doing and go create your own projects, doesn't have to be NFT, because people always go, wow, it's another NFT. If you put the will and your passion into it, in any technology and anything, there's a very good chance that you will be successful if you put your heart into it.
Yeah,
Thank
that's very inspiring.
A lot.
It's very inspiring. Well, do you want to comment something, Wen, as we wrap this up?
I'm gonna keep talking if you say that to me, because I'm not here. But no, thank you, David, for inspiring to so many people and for bringing this amazing community that I also have been like for almost a year and a half, even though that I'm not that active as before. I'm still here cheering about VeVe, David, Dan, Brice. So thank you so much for that, and looking forward to see you at DCon. And I hope I get that logo, because I'm waiting for that.
Yes. Well, we'll look forward to meeting you there and see you there. It's going to be a fun event. And this is what I'm talking about. I mean, you'll never dream about going to DCon with people that you never met, and then you're just going to meet up. It's very inspiring, all the story we hear. So I'm so looking forward to see you there. Have a safe travel, and we'll see you hopefully in a couple of weeks' time.
Right.
Thank you, David.
Thank you very much, David. It's been a pleasure to have you here in the show.
Thanks, Ricardo. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Metatech, the community of experts for the Metaverse, Web 3.0, and NFTs. Learn and be inspired by top industry leaders with your host, Ricardo Carreon. Together, we are building the Internet of Tomorrow. We invite you to join the Metatech experts community on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Discord.